Hi, this is Rob Curto here at Liberty Bellows in Philadelphia. Welcome back to our video series on groove creation for the accordion. This week we'll continue with our third video on the blues shuffle and Zydeco, and we'll learn how to improvise over a 12-bar blues form. Zydeco is an incredible music and dance that comes out of African-American Creole culture in Louisiana. It integrates a variety of musical forms, including waltzes, traditional two-steps, the blues, as well as soul and R&B. The accordion is always an essential element, and like forró, the music from Brazil that we've been studying, Zydeco is always danceable. In our last two videos, we learned to play a Zydeco riff that mainly utilized a pentatonic or 5-note scale in C, then in G and F major. We played it over a blues bass line in our left hand while modifying the riff so that it fits over each chord. This week, let's learn a different pattern using a blues scale and explore a technique for improvising over the 12-bar blues form. The blues scale, which you may have already learned from an earlier video by Tony Kovac here at Liberty Bellows, uses the following notes in the key of C: C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, and B flat. These notes are the first, flat third, fourth, sharp fourth, fifth, and flat seventh steps of the C scale. The exact same scale can be used over all the chords of our 12-bar blues. It looks and sounds like this. In order to improvise over the 12-bar blues, we'll divide the form into 3 4-measure sections. First, we'll start with 4 measures of C7. Then we'll play 2 measures of F7 and 2 measures of C7. Then we'll play 1 measure of G7, 1 measure of F7, 1 measure of C7, and 1 measure of G7 as our turnaround. That's our last 4-measure phrase. Now, to improvise over the blues form, we'll use a technique called call and response. We'll start with a phrase that's the call over the first 4 measures. Then we'll repeat the same phrase, again, reiterating the call over the second 4 measures of the form. Then when we get to the last 4 measures, we'll play a different phrase, which is the response. So let's learn the call phrase. It begins on the end of 3 as a pickup to the downbeat with the following phrase: 1, 2, 3. We use fingers 2, 3, and 5 on the B flat, C, and E flat. Then we descend the C blues scale with fingers 4 and 3 on C and B flat. So it sounds like this: 1, 2, 3. Then when we get to the G, we'll do a little slide through the F and F sharp, all of which are in our blues scale, up to the G using fingers 1, 2, and 3. So we get. Then we finish the phrase with fingers 3, 2, and 1 on the F, E flat, and C. So the whole thing in time sounds like this: 1, 2, 3. Now, to play the rest of the phrase, we'll utilize a blues cliche. It sounds like this. It starts with fingers 1, 2, and 4 on a C major triad. Then we leave our thumb on the C and play 2 eighth notes as follows, with fingers 3 and 5 on F and A. Then we'll play a C7 chord with no third, with our thumb on the C still, and fingers 3 and 4 on the G and B flat. Notice that I'm using the F sharp as a grace note. This creates the harmonically tense sound of the blues. Then we descend back down through the same chords to finish the phrase. Now putting the entire call phrase together, it looks and sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. So far we've learned our call phrase, which is the phrase played over the first 4 measures of the 12-bar blues and then repeated again over the second 4 measures. Remember, the first 4 measures are 4 measures of C7, which is our 1 chord, and then the second 4 measures are 2 measures of F7, which is our 4 chord, and 2 measures of C7, our 1 chord. Now, all we've left to do is to learn our response phrase, which comes over the last 4 measures of the 12-bar blues. So our response phrase starts on the end of 3 as a pickup to our last 4 measures. We'll first play a G, B flat, C, B flat, G with fingers 1, 2, and 3 as follows. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll play a similar phrase on C, E flat, F, E flat, C with the same fingers, and then just add 2 more notes of C in the end as a syncopated rhythm to finish the phrase. The entire thing sounds like this. 1, 2, 3. Now let's listen to our call phrase twice, followed by our response phrase in tempo. 1, 2, 3. Now that we've learned the entire call and response form, let's hear what it sounds like together with our bass line. It may take some practice to play these syncopated melody lines on top of the bass, but practice it slowly and take each phrase at a time. Remember that the point of our exercise is to learn how to utilize the call and response form for improvisation. You can and should create your own lines in this AAB form over the 12-bar blues. Listening to lots of classic Zydeco by Clifton Chenier and Buckwheat Zydeco will definitely help. Stay tuned for our next video where we'll explore different types of chord voicings in the right hand and how to use them. 1, 2, 3.